Collecting on a budget is more important than ever right now. Expendable income has taken a hit as everyday goods and services have increased in cost, so being purposeful with your collecting dollars can keep you in the hobby when your budget is tightening. In this video, I'm back with another top 10 list of great comics you can add to your collection for just $100. Let's go. One of the collecting strategies I share and generally try to live by is quality over quantity, meaning I'd much rather buy one $100 book over 100 $1 books or $25 books and other math. The challenge comes with knowing what books to look for when it comes time to spend that $100. That's why I started the top 10 comics on a $20, $50, or $100 budget series, to help you identify books within whatever budget level is best for you. Now, let's kick off the summer 2022 edition of our $100 budget series. The upcoming Black Adam movie starring Dwayne Johnson is slated for release in October. Unfortunately, Black Adam is a pretty tough character to collect, so if you're searching for a reasonably priced early Black Adam book to add to your collection, check out Shazam number 8. Published in December 1973, Shazam 8 is a 100-page super spectacular from DC Comics, which includes amongst the stories a retelling of the mighty Marvel's joined forces from all the way back in Marvel Family number 1. This story features the first appearance of Black Adam and is technically just the second time the character appeared in a comic book after December 1945's Marvel Family 1. The story, written by Otto Binder and drawn by C.C. Beck, is the only appearance of Black Adam from Fawcett Publications, the original home of Captain Marvel. Currently selling for around $90 in the market, Shazam 8 is the best budget option for collectors who want that classic Black Adam story in their collections. A character that has been front and center in the market in recent years is the King in Black himself, Null. And while everybody has been stacking Venom 2, a character that plays a large role in Null's tale has been mostly flying under the radar. But no more. Our number 9 book brings this character and his first appearance into the spotlight. Coming in at number 9 is Micronauts number 8, the first appearance of Captain Universe. Published in August 1979, the story Earth Wars from writer Bill Mantlo and artists Michael Golden and Bob McLeod introduce us to Ray Coffin as the Unipower joins with him to create Captain Universe. The cosmic Marvel equivalent to the Sword of Gryffindor, the Unipower appears to those in need and helps them overcome great challenges. Micronauts number 8 comes in a little bit under our $100 budget, with sales averaging in the neighborhood of $85 for high-grade raw copies. One of the most common refrains in the community is that DC keys are undervalued and underappreciated. Our number 8 book is therefore an undervalued book if that statement is true. Coming in at number 8 is Booster Gold number 1, the first appearance of Booster Gold. Having recently appeared in Legends of Tomorrow, Booster Gold's first appearance has seen a fair amount of interest in the market lately. It's a number 1 that's packed with lots of first appearances, as also making their first appearances in this issue are Skeets, Trixie Collins, and Blackguard. Booster Gold number 1 seems like a Copper Age DC book that should be on the list for most collectors. With sales for high-grade raw copies averaging out right around $75 right now, Booster Gold number 1 won't break the bank and it will help you fill out your DC depth chart. If science fiction or fantasy are your thing, then our number 7 book, Heavy Metal number 1, is for you. Technically, it's not a number 1. It's known by its publication date, April 1977, but yeah, it's issue 1. Kicking off the magazine series that would run for more than 320 issues as of the recording of this video, the appeal of Heavy Metal magazine was that you never knew what you were going to get. Well-known artists from Frank Frazetta, H.R. Giger, Mobius, Joe Jesko, and more regularly graced the pages of the subsequent issues, but the April 1977 issue is sought out not only for its significance as the first issue, but also for the classic John Michael Nicolette cover. While chasing down this issue of Heavy Metal may start you down the slippery slope of collecting some of the great comic-adjacent magazines that were at their peak in the 1970s, for the most part, the price point for most issues of this title aren't too bad. As you may have guessed, you can pick up a nice copy of Heavy Metal #1 for right around $100. Have you been watching Doom Patrol on HBO Max? I haven't, but Rotten Tomatoes seems to think that it's pretty good, and I did recently hear that it was picked up for a 4th season. Realizing that I've never included a Doom Patrol book on a top 10 list before, let's fix that right here in the number 6 spot with Showcase number 94. Published in September 1977, Showcase number 4 has a Jim Aparo cover, while the cover story, The Doom Patrol Lives Forever, was penned by Paul Cooperberg with pencils and inks from Joe Staton. The story features the first appearance and origin of the second Doom Patrol team, which is made up of a reconstructed Robot Man, Celsius, Negative Woman, and Tempest. Showcase 94 is currently selling for an average price of $80, which is well below our $100 budget. In the year 1976, it was decided that one ongoing Spider-Man title simply was not enough. Why it took 13 years to figure that out, I don't know, but the result of that decision is our number 5 book, Spectacular Spider-Man #1. Published in December 1976, issue number 1 was scripted by Jerry Conway with art from one of the all-time Spider-Man greats who never seems to get enough love, in my opinion, Sal Buscema. With the ever-increasing prices for early issues of Amazing Spider-Man, collectors may turn to a truncated ASM run or other offshoot titles such as Spectacular Spider-Man as more affordable collecting alternatives. And here's some real talk for you. For a fair amount of the late 70s and early 80s, Spectacular Spider-Man was actually a better read, story and art-wise, than what you were getting in Amazing Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man #1 is currently selling in the neighborhood of $80 for near mint copies, but the cool thing about this title is that no issue should cost you more than #1, making this a great option for collectors who want to build out a long vintage run without needing to take out a second or third mortgage. Our number 4 book always makes me laugh. Believe it or not, I was thrown out of a local comic shop for trying to buy a copy of this book the day it came out. It's a long, silly story, but it's still fun to me, so, good times. Anyway, coming in at number 4 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin #1. With a reported print run of 130,000 copies, The Last Ronin was one of the most anxiously awaited books of 2020. If you remember back to the initial release, there was one constant. No one had enough copies. Stores were having orders cut through allocation, and no one was really sure how many copies they were going to get when the street date finally arrived. With a truckload of variant covers and multiple follow-up printings, Last Ronin #1's first printing A cover quickly increased in value and is currently bringing an average of $80 for near mint copies. Based off of a story outline from all the way back in 1987 from Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, The Last Ronin was one of the few new comics that I was legitimately excited to read, and I'm happy to say that the issue didn't disappoint. Everyone has their favorite mutant from the X-Men universe, and while some of those mutants have a long and winding road in the comics, few characters went through all of the changes that Psylocke did before finally becoming the character we all know and recognize from Jim Lee's run on the X-Men. Our number 3 book is Betsy Braddock's first appearance in US Comics, New Mutants Annual #2. After originally appearing in the UK's Captain Britain #8 in December 1976, it would take nearly a decade for Psylocke to make her way across the pond. Though she wouldn't actually adopt the name Psylocke until she joined the X-Men in Uncanny X-Men 213, like I said, it's kind of complicated. Published in the summer of 1986, New Mutants Annual #2 was written by legendary X-Men scribe Chris Claremont, with Alan Davis tackling the art duties. You can currently pick up a near mint copy of New Mutants Annual #2 for right at $100. This issue should be a must-have for any fan of Jim Lee's X-Men team or Psylocke. Coming in at number 2 is one of the most brutal Batman stories ever told, The Killing Joke. Published in June 1988, The Killing Joke featured a powerhouse creative team in Alan Moore and Brian Boland. This book can actually be a collection all on its own. Going through 14 different printings, the printings are generally identifiable by the different colors that were used for the title and credits on the cover. First prints are green in color, but the rarest printing, the 9th printing, has a deep red lettering. One of the best Joker stories ever told, The Killing Joke is not for the faint of heart, like most things from Alan Moore, but is required reading in my opinion. Expect to pay upwards of $100 for a near mint copy of the first print, though if you're patient, you can likely find one for a bit below that, as there's no shortage of copies of this book out there. Topping the summer 2022 edition of the Top 10 Comics on a $100 budget is Iron Man 282. Despite not actually being the first appearance of the War Machine armor, Iron Man 281 checks that box. Iron Man 282 has long been held as the first appearance of War Machine. What Iron Man 282 actually is the first cover appearance of the War Machine armor, and it's a pretty badass cover at that. So I guess we need to file Iron Man 282 alongside things like Incredible Hulk 181, Uncanny X-Men 266, and other issues that spark the first appearance, second appearance debate in the community. The weird thing about this issue is that when we all think about War Machine, we think of Rhodey Rhodes, right? Rhodey doesn't actually wear this armor until Iron Man 284, and weirder yet, he didn't adopt the name War Machine until West Coast Avengers 94. Up to this point, I guess we should just refer to him as, does this shoulder cannon make my ass look big, Iron Man? What do you think? Well, maybe not. That's a bit of a mouthful. Published in July 1992, Iron Man 282 was written by Len Kaminski with Kevin Hopgood cover and interior art. Currently selling for $100, this book seems significantly undervalued with the Disney Plus Armor Wars show on the horizon, as this book seems to be the most likely focal point for the market as that show grows nearer. If you're like me, you've noticed that at the end of the pay period there isn't as much fun money left to play with as there used to be. Inflation is starting to take its toll, and the increase in things like food and gas, real-life things that most of us require, are noticeably impactful. In times like these, we need to be intentional with how we spend our comic book allowance. If you're looking to discover more budget-oriented comics for your collection, then check out this video right up here, or check out my Top 10 Comics playlist. The Como content library is full of videos featuring $20, $50, and $100 comics for you. Check these past videos out if you haven't already. Happy hunting out there, and don't forget to collect responsibly. I'll see you in the next video.